So I think to give our featured readers the time they deserve, we should get started. Grab some cookies, bring them to your seat, grab some books if you're buying, and I do want to thank the Montclair Public Library for supporting our reading in this beautiful venue, and the help they give us, and their staff, who is so incredible. The librarians come in and drag in the water we bring. So starting again, Joan. I just want to say that Joan Cusack-Handler will be running this reading, introducing the featured readers, and she'll be last, but I'm going to introduce her now. Joan Cusack, Bronx native Joan Cusack-Handler, has published 2 poetry collections, maybe it's more by now. Glorious and the Red Canoe, Love in Its Making, and 2 anthologies that she's edited. The Waiting Room Reader, Stories to Keep You Company, Volume 1, and The Breath of Parted Lips, Voices from the Robert Frost Place, Volume 1. Confessions of Joan the Tall, here it is her first full-length prose book. Recipients of 5 Pushcart nominations and a Sattler Award from the Boston Review. Her poems have appeared in the Acme, Boston Review, Poetry East, and the New York Times, and her prose including chapters from Confessions of Joan the Tall in the Indiana Review, Tampa Review, and Southern Humanities Review. In all of her literary work, Handler's aesthetic project is the exploration of voice, its evolution and recreation on the page. In her other lives, she is a founder-publisher of CavanKerry Press Limited and a psychologist in clinical practice. Oh, you can't, she is so busy, and she is also such a risky poet. I remember the first time she read for Maria and me, it was at the Barnes & Noble in Edgewater, and it was a risky but incredibly wonderful poem, and somebody in the audience, some kind of preacher, radical preacher, conservative preacher, started yelling at her, and it just was unbelievable. And really, the poem was in good taste, but it was just a little bit over the line for this poet. We saved it, and she was great, but the candor that she has in her poetry is very rare and so refreshing, and she's a wonderful writer, whether it's poetry or prose, and obviously a wonderful publisher. So let's welcome Joan Cusack-Handler, and she will be running.
What a lovely introduction. Thank you, Laura. And thank you, Laura and Maria, for hosting us tonight. It's great pleasure to read for you and to have our poets read for you. The first poet for tonight is Tina Kelley. She has other poetry books, Precise and The Gospel of Galore, winner of the 2003 Washington State Book Award. Her writing has appeared in the Best American Poetry 2009, Audubon, the Journal of the American Medical Association, Orion, People, Poetry Northwest, Poetry East, and Southwest Review, and Prairie Schooner, and on the buses of Seattle, Washington. A Bloom and a Rise title poem won the 2014 New Jersey Poets Prize. She lives in New Jersey with her husband and 2 children. And I want to read one of the comments that was made about her book. I so agree with this. Tina Kelley is a good poet for the same reason she was a good reporter. She asks good questions. She picks up vivid details. Above all, she pays attention. As a result, reading Kelley is like having an attention implant. Edges are sharper, it's true, Tina. Edges are sharper, colors more vivid, meanings finer honed. Please welcome Tina Kelley.
I have to, I was telling everyone else to read into the microphone, so here. I have to give a footnote to the person who wrote that blurb. Her name is Susan Blackwell Ramsey. She is one of my poetry girlfriends there are three of us that we exchanged drafts via email, and we were all together last week at the Writers' Conference in Portland. And she's hysterical and is a wonderful poet in her own right. You should go out and read her book, which is called A Mind Like This. I was so excited to become part of the CavanKerry family, and part of it is that the books are so beautiful. I just want to pet this. It has some little special velour covering on it that, and it just feels so good in the hand. They make wonderful books, and I was very honored to be invited to join. And part of the reason it feels like a spa treatment as a poet is that there's an editor, which I had never had in my previous press. And he gave me 3 alternate tables of contents for my collection. And as a poet, you only make your table of contents forever many times you have a book. It's not a skill that you get excellent at. But this editor, Baron Wormser, was very excellent at it and suggested that we do 3 poems in the beginning that show the themes of the book. So I'm going to start with one of those. It's called On Leaving the Newsroom. I was a reporter at the New York Times for 10 years, and for 10 years before that at other papers, and took the buyout in 2009 to write nonfiction books. It is magic writing news. We have an honored front row seat in life, the chance to walk through the bat cave for 6 hours, seeing the last ceilings full of brown bats mysteriously dying. What a privilege to listen to someone tell of brain injury, grief, monster trucks, or false imprisonment. A gift to read the actual suicide note, hear about a beau who's the cowboy kind of quiet, watch the drips fall off of Michael Phelps's perfect shoulders, hear good luck from the flood victims who need it more than we do, attend a nocturnal bird migration concert, know a little bit about just about everything, start with rumors and end with reality, swear by precision, become incapable of fibbing, ask with abandon, and take notes on talkers more profound than any of our imaginations. Then distill, discuss, dither over it, and hit send so 1,000,000 can know what we learned. Here I learned that Muhammad Atta's eyes looked so dark no one could see his pupils. Here I learned of the girl who would not take off her father's necktie because it smelled like him before he rushed into the burning tower. You can't buy a front row seat like that, a priceless seat, rarer and rarer. And for 20 years they paid me to sit or stand or run or sprint and use that keyboard. So few are this lucky. This is another one of the beginning poems that Baron suggested be in the beginning because it's cheerful, and I'm a cheerful poet. I own that. I'm sorry, I'm not like a lot of other poets who are always writing about love and death. There's a lot of death in my poetry, but I tend to be sort of optimistic. And this is called Yop because of my main man, Walt Whitman. Read this love letter to life. Its pages turn in the ice fling off of the fast car's roof. Follow the traveling carillon, the communism of the Gospels, the ice rink's joyful fourfold spotlight, how it shines the hair and adds grace. Eyes and words swerve into focus, nouns marry in metaphor, lines enter a stranger's memory and stay for 7 years. Smell the multiflora roses, honeysuckle, burning leaves. Feel the inside of the body, the smooth core. Watch the wren pull the dead fledgling from the hole, feather by dusty feather. Guess the stories. Tailless squirrel on the woodpile, condom under the old folks' home sofa. The lady's internal monologue as she guards the Lamborghini at the auto show. Red guts spilt like berries from rabbit mouth. I'd write even if each page's only destination were the stove for winter heat, again and again. I think it's good form to read your publisher's favorite poem. This is a love song to boredom, and Joan is a fan of this one, if I recall correctly. So much of what I write is just sort of stolen from real life, so a lot of these tidbits are just facts, and I can give you the footnotes from them if you want, but I was thinking a whole lot about boredom and wrote a poem. Love song to boredom. The placid ennui of toilet bowl water, pachysandra, impatience, the somnambulation of team building meetings. Only an infinite and immutable object, that is God himself, can fill this infinite abyss, said Pascal. Much of the time I sit around doing nothing, said the boredom proneness scale. Over 2 decades, people really bored at work are twice as likely to die of a heart attack. Some physicists believe time will slow, eventually disappear, and leave the universe frozen like a snapshot of one instant forever. Rollintando down, an eternal car parts ad. But before all that, boredom, lift me up, inspire me. You have to get to the point of boredom and then get past that, the photographer explained. Get the safe pictures out of your system for the first 3 or 4 days, and that's where the creativity starts. Beloved, you're the emails from the guy who marks everything urgent. Unending weeks of Pentecost, catalog close and expense reports. 7th graders sing-songing the pledge, 3rd graders practicing recorders. Almost every last black dress at every cocktail party. Tax season, license renewals. Only after, opal glint in the tarnished bracelet, one phrase in that awful novel, the second attempt at the recital, the caper among the canned black olives, the quirk, vigor, sparks from beige. You took me to the yawning edge and pushed. A lot of my poems are based on research, and a lot of my research is based on the internet, and every once in a while I just have a really good day in Google. I was studying the names of fireworks, and because they're all inspiring and poetic, and I just wanted to see what I would find there. And I found this thing called the Green Man. And in the olden days, this is the epigraph, pyrotechnicians known as green men would wear costumes of leaves and mud to protect them from stray sparks and remain hidden from the crowds at firework displays. So they were these guys. They liked the fireworks. And this is dedicated to my husband. He covers himself in clay and branches, hidden in what protects him best. Dusky blanket, shadow, damp armor against spiteful sparks, or just one watcher's humph of disenchantment. The crowd will never see my fine firework starter as he runs from fuse to fuse, lighting sulfurous snakes, thrusting delight to the skies, higher than any have climbed. Though he takes me there, he does. When he and his mates part, they say, stay green, safe, invisible, fertile, invincible, wreathed in rainforest mist, one redolent color and scent. I fell when I caught the campfire light in his, yes, green eyes. Light his leaves give back, those leaves leaking magic, the leaves beekeepers who have touched the dead wash with before returning to the hive. See how he calms my bag of cat's temper, soothes my brutal humors, douses anger with wit, so laughter melts me in a sodden clump. He can charm cranky children, extinguish frustrations, smother spats. He causes all that sparking glory, yet stays blended in, self-effacing, green saint of smoke. Coming home to the dark, still room, he smells of spent coals. I hug the leafy cloak, and he pulls me in. When I rest my hair in his moss, I revel, remembering that rainstorm when we could not have gotten any wetter. He saves one last pinwheel rocket for me. We drench each other. I worry, yes, he could vanish in a flash, but he comes from a tall line of tree herders, patient, wet behind the ears, therefore humbly wise, deserving every ooh and ah. Come, let's ignite joy, create it from bow drill and tinderbox, burn the combustibles, soak stinging cinders in sap, quench ourselves in constancy in camouflage. And I think I will read the last poem in the book, which is called Charmed. And it has an epigraph from John of Damascus, 750 AD, his hymn lyrics, which read, "Let all things seen and unseen, their notes of gladness blend." It's kind of about death, but it's also kind of cheerful at the end. Why does anyone have to leave a world so stunning? A world serving up breakfast all day, diamonds forged from cremains, cirrus clouds to overlook from a plain, frost fairs on the frozen river Thames, world with haiku hiding in the clouds, specific angels overseeing only honey, only 10th birthdays, where, standing in the right fountain, you can see a rainbow ring bloom from your feet. World with truffle salt, with the bright lines that river water flings on tree trunks. A world that lets you drive the clotted roads of the carpool and gives you the relief of turning really loud music down. Where, if you're sick, people you know turn cussedly kind, making it harder than ever to leave. A world where you may, with any luck, die on a screen porch on a warm, windy day. Thank you.